before. So I appreciate Chris Shelton and his team for setting everything up, to where we can have the meeting in a safe way. So we'll proceed with that. Before we say the pledge and have our prayer, to make sure I have all my aldermen with me, would you check in? I'll just call each alderman, if you'll just say the word connected for me. Alderman Brooks. Alderman Kelly. Alderman Hoots. Alderman Payne. Alderman Payne. Alderman Payne, your phone may be muted. Alderman Gallagher. Alderman Wheeler. Alderman Flores. Alderman Payne, are you with us? Okay. We'll keep working. Can we keep working on that? We'll keep working on that. But in the meantime, Alderman Flores, did he text? He can text me, or did he text you that he can hear?
No, I can see him. He texted on video.
Okay. So we're sure he can hear, Chris? Okay. Okay. All right. If everyone we're going to stand and we'll be led in prayer by Chris Shelton tonight. And after the prayer, I'll lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let's pray. Heavenly Father, Lord God, we come to you tonight. Father, we thank you for the privilege to be able to come here and conduct the business of our city. And Father, in these special times, Lord, we just ask your blessings and your protection upon our community, upon our citizens, upon our leaders. Father, we especially lift up our first responders, Lord, our healthcare workers. Father, all those who work behind the scenes to continue to keep our community going. Father, we lift up our whole state and our nation, and Lord, just pray for our leaders and the healthcare professionals, Lord, as they advise us on how we are to continue. And Father, as we conduct business here tonight, Lord, I pray that you would just bless our leaders with wisdom and discernment. Lord, just build a hedge of protection around this whole community, around this meeting tonight. And Father, we just give you glory for what you're going to do. In Jesus' name, amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, first on the agenda this evening is approval of minutes. We have actually three meetings. The first one, we need to approve the minutes for the March 17, 2020 meeting. We have a motion by Alderman Brooks, second by Alderman Flores. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Hoots.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
He can hear you, he just, as right now, he can't. Did you give us a nod?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, that motion carries. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the March 22nd special meeting?
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve the minutes of the special meeting of March 22nd, 2020 with additions, deletions, or corrections. Thank you.
We have a motion by Alderman Brooks, second by Alderman Wheeler. Is there any discussion?
We'll go to the 22nd, 23rd together.
Okay. Andrea says that's better. So Alderman Brooks, will you amend your motion to include the 22nd and the 23rd?
Yes, sir. I'll make sure we approve the minutes of those special meetings on March 22nd and 23rd with any additions we need for corrections.
And Alderman Wheeler, do you agree to that?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, we have the first of Alderman Brooks, second of Alderman Wheeler to approve the minutes for both the special meetings on March 22nd and March 23rd. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Payne. Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores. Alderman Flores.
Yes.
Okay, and that motion carries. Next on the agenda is a resolution for a budget amendment. Mr. Chris Wilson.
This amendment simply moves the Horn Lake Creek Grant Project and the Medline Dip Grant out of the general fund and into the capital improvement fund with the amount shown.
I'll make that motion.
We have a motion by Alderman Flores, second by Alderman Gallagher. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Hoots.
Yes.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler. Alderman Flores.
Yes.
Okay, that motion carries. Next on the agenda is a residential auto sales ordinance. Just some background on this. In the ordinance committee meetings, a couple of them before now, concern was brought up by an alderman that all the cities in DeSoto County have a residential auto sales ordinance, which would put limitations on how many vehicles can be for sale in a residentially zoned lot. Obviously, for that reason, that's the purpose of zoning, is you can separate residential and commercial. Persons from one time to another may have a personal automobile that they want to sell. There's a difference in that in actually being in business or having multiple vehicles for sale at one time. I can personally tell you that there are citizens that have requested a change to this. They don't want residential areas to look like a commercial auto sales lot. So that's what was the origin of this discussion. And so that's the introduction to it. And so I'll leave it to the board. Do you want to go ahead with that tonight? My only concern with making an ordinance change under the current circumstances is obviously we have good communication, our ability to discuss things in person is obviously hampered right now. I don't know if that matters to you. I just wanted to just throw that out there, that ask the question among the board. Do you want to pursue this tonight, or would you rather table it and discuss it at a different time? Okay, so Raymond, Alderman Flores, excuse me, are you making a motion to table it? Okay, have a motion by Alderman Flores to table this discussion about this ordinance, and then we have a second by Alderman Brooks. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. All opposed say no. Any opposed say no, please. Ayes have it, motion carries, and so that will be tabled. Next on the agenda is a recommendation for award of a dump truck bid. Mr. Bradley Wallace.
recommendation from Public Works that we accept a bid from Truck Works. Lowest and best in the recent central bidding exercise that we had. That is something that was in our budget this year.
Okay, will someone make a motion to award the dump truck bid of $102,200 to Truck Works? And it's, okay, I'm sorry. Alderman Gallagher made the motion, Alderman Hoots second. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks. Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Hoots.
Yes.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler. Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Thank you, Bradley. Next on the agenda is a resolution for surplus property in the Southaven Police Department. Mr. Nick Manley.
Yeah, it's just a surplus for the Southaven Police Department for the seized vehicles that have cleared court and been, title has been granted to the city pursuant to the court process. So tonight, authorization to surplus these vehicles in accordance with Mississippi Code 172525.
Mr. Mayor, I move we adopt the resolution of May 1 order to Southaven, the subdivision each property in Southaven Police Department as presented on this day. Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Brooks, second by Alderman Flores. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Hoots.
Yes.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
That motion carries. Next on the agenda is a industrial tax exemption for Earth Incorporated.
Yeah, this previously Earth Inc. was granted tax exemption by the board and the county. Since that time, the final tax exemption has been granted by the Mississippi Department of Revenue. So tonight is authorization for final tax exemption for Earth Inc.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Flores, second by Alderman Payne. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call. I'm sorry. Say that again, please.
This is for personal property, correct?
Correct.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Hoots.
Yes.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on the agenda is a resolution for a bond purchase agreement.
Yeah, previously, the board had approved the bond purchase agreement for the GO bond 2020. This resolution, so the documents are allowed to be signed already, but this resolution will allow for the purchase to be done via private placement, which is the plan for the GO bond. It is scheduled to close on April 23rd. We've got the documents for the mayor and Andrew had already signed, but tonight we have just a resolution for the bond purchase agreement to provide the extra authority for the mayor to sign or to enter into a private placement agreement with, private placement for the bonds for 2020 GO bond issue.
I'll make that motion. Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Flores, second by Alderman Gallagher. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Hoots.
Yes.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on the agenda is the Mississippi Recreation and Park Association request to include certain items on the state contract.
This is just authorization for Wes Brown to sign a letter from the Mississippi, or on behalf of the Mississippi Park and Recreation Association, requesting that playground equipment and other similar situated equipment be included on the state contract. Wes has informed me that it would help out with the cost for the city and make more efficient use of the funds and allow these things to be repaired quicker and built quicker with this on-state contract. So tonight, just authorization for Wes to sign this letter on behalf of the city for the Mississippi Park and Recreation Park Association to include those items on the state contract.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Brooks, second by Alderman Flores. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Hoots.
Yes.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on the agenda is a change order for the Snowden soccer fields. Mr. Danny Cordell.
Mayor, Board. This is a request for an increase in the contract amount for the soccer fields to Murphy and Sons. It's a request for board approval and authorization for you to sign in the amount of $36,905.95. It's made up of several items, and the mayor asked that I be here tonight to explain, since I've been kind of under self-quarantine myself for a couple of weeks now. So it's made up of three parts. It's the concession stand, which is outside of the soccer field grading and drainage, was originally set up at approximately $1 million. In order to reduce the scope and price of that, the architects redesigned it, changed the footprint. In so doing, it did amount to an increase in the retaining wall for that foundation that's actually in the grading and drainage contract. That amounts to $19,643.83 worth of the increase. The other parts of the increase, there's $13,812.12 for improving the irrigation control, which will give the park and rec personnel more options for controlling the irrigation. And then there is, due to the aesthetics of the concession stand, now that the colors have been picked out, and to adhere to those colors from the concession stand, there is a pumping station for the irrigation system that has an enclosure. And kind of like buying a car, in order to go up to the next color options, you have to have an increase in the actual enclosure standards, which amounts to $3,450. My request is y'all's approval of that change to implement those modifications. It varies in, at the maximum height is approximately, I think 8 feet, 6 to 8 feet. and then it wraps basically around the northern side and the northern end and two sides next to the lake.
Got a motion by Alderman Wheeler, is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a second by Alderman Flores. Is there any other discussion?
They'll note that didn't change the scope of the project or that'll just be reflected in minutes, so.
Okay, any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks. Alderman Brooks.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Hoots.
Yes.
Alderman Payne. Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
Okay, that motion carries. Thank you, Dan. Next on the agenda is a proclamation to acknowledge that the week for National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week. And if I may, I'm going to read the proclamation. Whereas emergencies can occur at any time that require police, fire, or emergency medical services, and whereas an emergency occurs, or when an emergency occurs, the prompt response of police officers, firefighters, and paramedics is critical to the protection of life and preservation of property. And whereas the safety of our police officers and firefighters is dependent upon the quality and accuracy of information obtained from citizens who telephone the City of Southaven Police Fire Communications Center. And whereas public safety telecommunicators are the first and most critical contact our citizens have with emergency services. And whereas public safety telecommunicators are the single vital link for our police officers and firefighters by monitoring their activities by radio, providing them information, and ensuring their safety. And whereas public safety telecommunicators of the City of Southaven have contributed substantially to the apprehension of criminals, suppression of fires, and treatment of patients. And whereas each dispatcher has exhibited compassion, understanding, and professionalism during the performance of their job in the past year. And now therefore I, Darren Musselwhite, by the authority vested in me as mayor of the City of Southaven, Mississippi, hereby proclaim April 12 through April 18, 2020 as National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week in our city from the elected officials of the City of Southaven, Mississippi. And I'll add to the proclamation just a simple thank you. The daily job that our dispatchers do, all our telecommunicators, is essential, and especially in times like we have now, with all the strange things going on, just the added burden of that. So on behalf of the City of Southaven, Chris, we thank you and your team for what you do for our city, for all of the people that live or visit our city. And the next on our agenda is our planning agenda. Ms. Whitney Cook.
Yes, sir. The first application we've got is a subdivision application for Cherry Tree Park South, 9.46 acres. This is going to be on the north side of Starling Road, west of Getwell. We did have some adjustments in the lot sizes by the master plan. They had a certain size lot at 10,000 square feet they had to meet. And we had some changes in the street names, and talking to our emergency telecommunications people, like Mr. Shelton over there. They do not wish to use directional names in their streets because it causes a lot of issues with 911. They have made those adjustments for us. We had recently also approved this portion as a 55 and up community, but they would like to reverse it back to the original one. And with all of those changes we asked for, and the fact that it was compliant with the master overall plan that was already approved, we recommended approval, and it was voted unanimously by the planning commission.
Okay, on item 1, we have a motion by Alderman Flores, a second by Alderman Gallagher. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks. Alderman Kelly. Alderman who? Alderman Payne. Alderman Gallagher. Alderman Wheeler. Alderman Flores.
That motion carries.
Item number 2 is also Cherry Tree Park Phase 4, same area. It's actually just due north of the one that was just approved. Same square footages, same comments actually. They had again used north, south, east, and west for their street names. We did ask that they change those. We did confirm that it was compliant with the overall master plan. The only other thing we had them note was there was a detention area on site. We wanted a note that that was maintenance for the HOA. Otherwise than that, we recommended approval, and it was voted unanimously in favor of by the planning commission.
Alderman Hoops, was that you that made the second? Alderman Kelly, I'm sorry. We have a motion by Alderman Flores, second by Alderman Kelly. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks. Alderman Kelly. Alderman who? Alderman Payne. Alderman Gallagher. Alderman Wheeler. Alderman Flores.
That motion carries.
Our third item on the agenda is for Lakes of Nicholas, Section L, Phase 1. This is going to be 23.93 acres of property. No new access points onto College Road. Lots ranging in size from 20,000 to nearly 2-acre sites. The only comments that we had on this, on the plat they had submitted to us, is they placed the College Road right-of-way as common open space. Obviously, we need it as right-of-way. So we had them make that adjustment to the needed 53 feet of right-of-way on that south side. They did make that adjustment for us. So we recommended approval with that comment, and it was voted unanimously in favor of.
We have a motion by Alderman Flores, second by Alderman Wheeler. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks. Alderman Kelly. Alderman who? Alderman Payne. Alderman Gallagher. Alderman Wheeler. Alderman Flores.
That motion carries.
Item number 4 is a request for Lot 7 of Silo Square Commercial Area 1, obviously on the west side of Getwell Road. This is going to be south of Wildflower Lane, which is going to be the secondary entrance where the actual silo is. This lot will actually sit south of that intersection, and it will be placed on a corner. There was no comments by staff, and was recommended approval of as submitted by the Planning Commission.
I'm sorry, I can't. Who made the second? We have a motion by Alderman Flores, second by Alderman Brooks. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks. Alderman Kelly. Alderman Hoots. Alderman Payne. Alderman Gallagher. Alderman Wheeler. Alderman Flores.
That motion carries.
Item number 5 is a request for right-of-way dedication only for a portion of Cherry Tree Blossom Parkway and a small section of Cherry Place Drive. These are both going to be in the Cherry Tree North Subdivision. This was the portion that was never recorded. It was kind of in a no man's land in that subdivision in really bad shape at one point in time. The city with Civil Link worked with 2 developers on that property and did what's called reclamation treatment on that road. They did all the necessary improvements and then did the reclamation on top of that. They did place a maintenance bond on it as we would with any other road. In speaking with Civil Link, it is in an improved state to where we would accept dedication of it. So with the recommendation of Civil Link, we're recommending approval to take it right now.
I'll make a motion that we approve item number 5 on the agenda as presented. I'll second. Alderman Brooks.
We have a motion by Alderman Gallagher, second by Alderman Brooks. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks. Alderman Kelly. Alderman Hoots. Alderman Payne. Alderman Payne. Alderman Gallagher. Alderman Wheeler. Alderman Wheeler. Alderman Flores.
That motion carries.
Item number 6 is a request for subdivision approval for Lot 1 of Parcel 2 of the Central Gardens PUD. This is going to be on the east side of Airways, north of Rasco. Previously, we did approve an amendment to this overall PUD. There's some 55 and up development, single-family residential on the interior, but we did incorporate a small portion of property on the frontage of Airways for commercial. This is one of those lots. There's supposedly 2 lots going to be carved out of this, but this is at the north boundary of the property. All the bulk regulations have been met, so we recommend approval as submitted.
We have a motion by Alderman Payne, and I'm sorry again, who made the second? Man, I'm not reading you tonight, am I, Alderman Kelly? We got a second by Alderman Kelly. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks. Alderman Kelly. Alderman Hoots. Alderman Payne. Alderman Gallagher. Alderman Wheeler. Alderman Flores.
The motion carries.
Item number 7 is an application for subdivision approval for Lot 9 of Church Road Marketplace subdivision. This is going to be on the south side of Church Road, just east of Highway 51. The lot is approximately 1.07 acres. It has direct access off of Church Road. It is part of the approved master plan of the Ross family subdivision. We had 2 adjustments that the applicant needed to make. One was to increase the width of the streetscape design for Church Road. It stood at 15 feet. It needed to be increased to 20 feet. We also had them adjust the title block because what they had it named was not following suit with the actual subdivision. So for recording purposes, we needed that cleared up. They agreed to both of those and got those changes to us last week. So with those changes, we recommended approval and it was voted unanimously by the Planning Commission.
Mr. Somerset?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve item number 7. I second that. Thank you.
We have a motion by Alderman Gallagher, second by Alderman Hoots. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Hoots.
Yes.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Thank you. Okay, next on the agenda is an update in the mayor's report. Just a couple of things. I'll try to do pretty quickly, fairly quick tonight. City Hall renovation. We are within striking distance of being done. We will have the next meeting back in our boardroom, but the flooring, permanent chairs, all the painting walls, woodwork, everything has been redone, all the doors, new conference table and executive session, new chairs, total reworking of the executive session room, the first floor, the reception area where the old drive-through porch is has been ripped out. It's now glassed in. It's beautiful, wide open. Got a great view of Associate Park and the front of City Hall. It's almost done. It looks great. They laid the sod yesterday and today out front and all the landscaping. Just a few touch-up items have to be done, so it looks really, really nice. It's sad that we had this virus and all the distancing right about the same time that we could have normally had some type of grand reception for the building, but we'll do that later. But we're probably on the 21st. Who knows? We may be having the same format that we have tonight, but we'll at least be having that. But we'll be back in City Hall. So excited about that. It looks really good. Urban Art did a great job designing it. F&F Construction has done a great job. The roofer also, Andrew, who's the roofer? Norman Roofing out of Meridian did a great job on the roof as well. So it's turned out to be a really nice project for the city. Be something that we can be proud of and that our citizens can be proud of for many years to come. Very professional looking building, very nice. So really excited about that. And then just a quick overview, all the other projects that are going on, like the park projects, weather through this point of the year has been terrible for construction. We're finally starting to see a little bit of a break in that. On these sunny days, work has begun again. The multi-use trail at Stony Grove Park is about to have its final layer of asphalt, so it'll be done. We're within 7-8 days of having asphalt on the Springfest pavement project. The soccer development, they're back working there again. So all the projects, Greenbrook is about wrapped up. We're just doing a punch list at Greenbrook. The indoor training facility is done, ready to roll. So projects are all moving along as planned, and basically that's with the other update, I guess, is just to let everybody know that we have started our street improvement schedule. We start that, we plan that every year, budget year before October 1. Ideally, we'd like to hit some of the streets when the weather is good in October. But then we, take a little hiatus till we get some good weather again. But just to let you know, the crews are working that list now, so that's underway. State Line Road resurfacing. When that project was done at the end of last year, there were some problems with one of the interior lanes that had to be redone. So that's why it hasn't been striped yet. We had to wait for them to come back and redo one of the lanes. That has now been completed, and the striping is scheduled to be done within the next couple of weeks. So we're excited to finally have that project behind us. The last thing is just a general update about the COVID-19 issue. All of you and all the citizens have read the public statements that we put out, via social media, website. We had a press conference special meeting on the 22nd, that was televised to try to get the word out to our citizens. So everyone is aware of that. No need to recap all that, other than to say that we've made the adjustments in the city that we've had to make. We've closed City Hall interior. We've done everything remotely as much as possible. We're doing alternating shifts at City Hall. We've taken the advice of health experts, and we are doing everything we can in the city, to minimize our risk. We're still taking a large number of calls at City Hall every day with questions about why this business or that business is still open. And just to make that real simple, we put that on the front page of the website to simplify that on who's open and who's closed. And the point that I want to drive home tonight is the fact that we are following the governor's orders. The definitions or the framework for the definitions of what's essential and what's non-essential came from the United States Department of Homeland Security. And just to let everyone know, as mayor and our board, we don't have the authority to go. We have the authority to tighten things to make it more stringent, but we do not have the authority to lessen the strength of the governor's order. So directly related to that, we get a lot of calls about an industry specific. So for example, if one industry is deemed essential by that order, we don't have the authority to go in and say, well, this product is okay, this product is not. It's done as an industry specific thing. So again, I've gotten a lot of calls about that. We don't have the authority to get that specific on which exact product in that industry is deemed essential and what's non-essential. The other thing, there is I did put out on the website and through social media channels a little Q&A just to simplify what a shelter-in-place order is. I've been amazed at some of the ideas of what people thought that was. And anyway, I'm not going to go through all that. Basically just to say, please go to that website. It's real simple. It's not very long. And you can look at, what is expected of people now, what is allowed, and I hope that will help our citizens. I've tried to, as much as possible, simplify something that we've never been through before. Nick Manley, our city attorney, has been a big asset to me during this time. We've taken the governor's orders and in a matter of hours paraphrased that to simplify it specifically for Southaven, also combining that with the civil emergency ordinance that we had done prior to that on March 22nd. So we did that to try to simplify it as much as possible. And then the last thing I will say is, just as a general update, we're not out of the woods yet. This has been an unknown. It's got even the most talented doctors in our world have had to step back and do their homework on this. But I will say that, for us to be this far in DeSoto County, having 190,000 roughly people here, to have only 140 cases, I would take that as a positive right now. But again, we're not out of the woods, but just want to try to share a little bit of uplifting information. We have, in my opinion, made a difference in this with the things that we've done in DeSoto County and specifically in Southaven. For the most part, most of our citizens have taken this seriously, and they have taken actions to help us minimize risk. And so I commend all our citizens for that. I commend our Board of Aldermen for just rolling with the punches. I commend all our department heads, everybody for and board for rising to the occasion and making quick decisions and doing things that we needed to do to keep our people safe, having never done this before. So I commend our team. I think we've done a good job. And I think that we just need to, stay with the plan right now, stay smart, stay tough, stay home as much as we can, and just continue to fight this that way. And lastly, I'll just leave you with this thought. We recognize as leaders, local leaders and our federal and state leaders recognize this too, that we can't live this way indefinitely. There is light at the end of the tunnel. It's crucial that we've done what we've done in the short term, but it's not possible for us to continue having businesses closed like this, having recreational things shut down indefinitely. And so I would just leave you with this thought. I believe that, that we're doing what we need to be doing now, but we recognize that we are weighing both the health risk and the economic risk in our city and our country. And so I think I'm speaking for all leaders at all levels that we recognize the risk both ways. And so the assurance tonight and the message tonight is hang in there. This is not going to be a lengthy thing. We are going to get through this. We are going to get back to a state of normalcy again. And I think that's going to be sooner than what was initially projected by some. So that's all I have tonight. Again, thank you for the whole team, board, department heads, everyone in our city for helping us comply with this and for rising to the occasion. Next on our agenda is our citizens agenda. We have a very few people here. I don't see anyone that, some of our department heads are citizens, but I guess you could have expressed yourselves before now. So I don't think we have anybody that wants to speak on the citizens agenda. We'll move past that. Next on the agenda is our personnel docket.
Mayor, I move to approve personnel docket as presented on this day.
Who made the second? I'm sorry.
I didn't, right?
Okay. We have a motion by Alderman Brooks, second by Alderman Flores. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Hoots.
Yes.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
Okay, that motion carries. Next on the agenda is our city attorney's legal update. Mr. Nick Manley.
Yes, Mayor, I have a couple of items tonight. First, I was reminded during the meeting tonight, we'll need to officially vote to move the meeting back to City Hall pursuant to our ordinance. So tonight, authorization to move the meeting back, either the first meeting in the next meeting in April or first meeting in May. I guess we will be here in April though.
Yeah, April 21st.
Maybe a motion tonight to move the meeting back to City Hall for our normal meeting place on April 21.
We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Kelly. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Any opposed say no. Ayes have it, motion carries.
Next, just a note that this meeting's minutes will reflect the grass contracts that were approved at the last meeting with the grounds maintenance with Chandler and C4 contracts. No action to take, just to note that those will both be in the meeting minutes for this meeting. Next, as the mayor referred to earlier, the COVID-19 issue, the House or state legislature passed a bill allowing for a certain admin leave, HB 1647. I sent the resolution out earlier today, just authorization for the mayor to sign that resolution that relates to the administrative leave and for the admin policy. And it also ratifies any admin policy or admin leave that have been provided up to this date under emergency declaration. So tonight, authorization for the mayor to sign that resolution for admin leave pursuant to HB 1647.
We have a motion by Alderman Brooks, second by Alderman Flores. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks. Alderman Kelly. Alderman Hoots. Alderman Payne. Alderman Gallagher. Alderman Wheeler. Alderman Wheeler. Alderman Flores.
That motion carries.
And finally, I have, as part of the Horn Lake Creek Bridge replacement, there are 3 easements the city needs to get that we need approval tonight for. And the first easement is for state line properties in the amount of $3,633.30. The second easement is for the lot property, owned by the lots 2 in the amount of $2,387.44. And then the last property is it's owned by the Goodson family in the amount of $151.58. Just authorization to pay that amount for those easements is for the state line, the Horn Lake Creek Bridge replacement on State Line Road. And that will be the engineering analysis for each of those will be included in the minutes, and appraisal is not needed because it's below $10,000.
We have a motion by Alderman Hoots, second by Alderman Flores. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks. Alderman Brooks. Alderman Kelly. Alderman Hoots. Alderman Payne. Alderman Gallagher. Alderman Gallagher. Alderman Wheeler. Alderman Wheeler.
Alderman Wheeler. Thank you.
Alderman Flores.
That motion carries. Okay, next on the agenda is our utility bill adjustment docket.
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve the utility bill adjustment docket as listed on the table. Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Gallagher. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
He got disconnected and stopped back.
Alderman Kelly. Alderman Hoots. Alderman Payne. Alderman Gallagher. Alderman Wheeler. Alderman Flores.
He votes yes.
Motion carries. Next on the agenda is the approval of 2 claims dockets. Is there a motion to approve docket 1?
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve docket number 1 in the amount of $2,319,161.17.
On docket 1, we have a motion by Alderman Payne, a second by Alderman Hoots. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
He votes yes.
Alderman Kelly. Alderman Hoots. Alderman Payne. Alderman Gallagher. Alderman Wheeler. Alderman Flores.
That motion carries. Is there a motion to approve docket 2?
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve docket number 2 in the amount of $16,009.06. Second.
On docket 2, we have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Flores. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
He votes yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
And that motion carries. Okay, next on the agenda is the purpose of determining the need for executive session.
I'll make that motion. Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Gallagher, second by Alderman Payne. All in favor say aye. All opposed say no. Ayes have it, motion carries. The purpose tonight is leasing of city property, litigation and claims involving city infrastructure, Southaven Fire Department personnel, and economic development within the city. Is there a motion to declare executive session? We have a motion by Alderman Gallagher, second by Alderman Payne. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Any opposed say no. Ayes have it, motion carries. The mayor and board will now enter executive session. And the way we'll do this evening, Chris Shelton is going to amend the teleconference call to only allow board members, and then the other persons present in the building right now will leave, so we'll hold executive session where we are, and both by teleconference with the appropriate persons. And board members, if you will, just wait just a few minutes.